CompTIA Cloud Certification Exam Final Review. Question 1. Engineers reviewing Unity Nonprofit's donor management application describe the intended behavior as follows. A single-minus organization environment supports customized governance and isolation while retaining cloud operating characteristics. Which cloud model does this description identify? Option A, Platform as a Service. Option B, Hybrid Cloud. Option C, a Community Cloud. Option D, Private Cloud. The correct answer is option D, Private Cloud. The described behavior supports the requirement to dedicate the cloud environment to one organization with greater control. Applied within Unity Nonprofit's environment, the approach resolves the central constraint without expanding the solution beyond its purpose. A different choice would be weaker because shared tenancy would conflict with the stated isolation requirement. Question 2. Prior to expanding Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, administrators must send overflow demand from a private environment to public resources. Which architecture pattern should they use? Option A, automatic scaling. Option B, horizontal scaling. Option C, cloud bursting. Option D, high availability. The correct answer is option C, cloud bursting. Temporary external capacity handles peak usage while the normal workload remains in the controlled environment. This approach gives Unity Nonprofit the required behavior while keeping the implementation aligned with the workload's actual demand. The main risk of choosing a different approach is that building permanent private capacity for rare peaks would be less flexible and more costly. Question 3. Architects supporting Unity Nonprofit's donor management application need the solution to schedule, scale, and recover containerized services across nodes. Which compute architecture should they choose? Option A, stateless application tier. Option B, serverless computing. Option C, immutable infrastructure. Option D, a container orchestration. The correct answer is option D, container orchestration. An orchestration control plane manages desired state, placement, networking, and failed workload replacement. Applied within Unity Nonprofit's environment, the approach resolves the central constraint without expanding the solution beyond its purpose. A different choice would be weaker because manually launching containers would not provide coordinated lifecycle management. Stressed about your CompTIA exam? We can take CompTIA exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 4. The current proposal for Unity Nonprofit's donor management application has a drawback. Forcing rapidly changing records into a fixed relational structure would reduce flexibility. The team still needs to scale flexible records or key-value access across distributed nodes. Which data-service choice should replace the proposal? Option A, object storage. Option B, NoSQL database. Option C, file storage. Option D, a read replica. The correct answer is option B, NoSQL database. Non-relational stores support varied data models and high-scale access patterns when joins and rigid schemas are unnecessary. This approach gives Unity Nonprofit the required behavior while keeping the implementation aligned with the workload's actual demand. The alternatives solve adjacent design or operational problems instead of the specific issue identified here. Question 5. A production-readiness review for Unity Nonprofit's donor management application requires the team to encrypt traffic across an untrusted network between sites or users. Which network architecture belongs in the plan? Option A, a virtual private network. Option B, a transit hub. Option C, dedicated private connection. Option D, private subnet. The correct answer is option A, virtual private network. A protected tunnel provides confidentiality and integrity over public connectivity without requiring a dedicated circuit. The choice is appropriate for Unity Nonprofit because it acts on the requirement identified in the scenario, not merely on a related concern. A different choice would be weaker because sending internal traffic directly across the internet would expose it. Question 6. For Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, the team must maintain a fully provisioned secondary environment ready for rapid failover. It also wants to avoid a design where building resources only after an outage would exceed the allowed downtime. Which recovery design offers the most appropriate balance? Option A, backup and restore. Option B, multi-zone deployment. Option C, hot standby. Option D, recovery point objective. The correct answer is option C, hot standby. Active or immediately available capacity supports very low recovery time at a higher operating cost. The proposed use aligns with the workload constraint and supports a defensible vendor-neutral cloud decision. The alternatives solve adjacent design or operational problems instead of the specific issue identified here. Question 7. For its donor management application, Unity Nonprofit wants to define ownership, environment, cost, and lifecycle metadata. Which planning decision is most appropriate? Option A, service-level requirement. Option B, capacity assessment. Option C, resource tagging strategy. Option D, business impact analysis. The correct answer is option C, resource tagging strategy. Consistent metadata supports cost allocation, automation, inventory, and policy enforcement. In this scenario, the capability addresses the immediate design objective and avoids solving a different problem. Conversely, unlabeled resources become difficult to govern and retire. Question 8. Engineers reviewing Unity Nonprofit's donor management application describe the intended behavior as follows. Safe repeat execution prevents duplicated resources and reduces recovery risk after partial failure. Which provisioning practice does this description identify? Option A, state locking. Option B, bootstrap script. Option C, parameterization. Option D, idempotent automation. The correct answer is option D, idempotent automation. The described behavior supports the requirement to produce the same final state when executed repeatedly. The proposed use aligns with the workload constraint and supports a defensible vendor-neutral cloud decision. The main risk of choosing a different approach is that non-repeatable scripts may create additional objects or conflicting settings. Are you looking for CompTIA exam actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access CompTIA exam study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get CompTIA exam answer key today. Question 9. Before the next production change to Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, the team must keep a workload in its current environment for now. Which migration approach should be prioritized? Option A, replatform. Option B, retain. Option C, database replication cutover. Option D, retire. The correct answer is option B, retain. A deliberate hold is appropriate when migration risk, licensing, latency, or dependency constraints outweigh current benefit. The scenario calls for this capability because the donor management application depends on the specified behavior rather than a general cloud feature. Conversely, forcing an unsuitable workload into the cloud could increase cost or disruption. Question 10. For Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, the team must define a tested path to restore the prior stable state. It also wants to avoid a design where improvising recovery during an incident would increase delay and error. Which release practice offers the most appropriate balance? Option A, a rollback plan. Option B, smoke test. Option C, a blue-green deployment. Option D, a rolling deployment. The correct answer is option A, rollback plan. A rehearsed reversal procedure limits downtime when release criteria fail. The design decision fits the donor management application because it targets the exact availability, security, deployment, or operational need described. A nearby concept would leave the central requirement unresolved even though it could improve another part of the environment. Question 11. The current proposal for Unity Nonprofit's donor management application has a drawback. Embedding static keys would create theft and rotation risks. The team still needs to allow a cloud workload to authenticate without stored long-lived credentials. Which configuration choice should replace the proposal? Option A, managed identity. Option B, lifecycle policy. Option C, resource quota request. Option D, secrets manager. The correct answer is option A, managed identity. Platform-issued workload identity reduces secret distribution and supports automatic credential rotation. The scenario calls for this capability because the donor management application depends on the specified behavior rather than a general cloud feature. Other options may be useful elsewhere, yet they do not provide the capability emphasized by this scenario. Question 12. Engineers reviewing Unity Nonprofit's donor management application describe the intended behavior as follows. Historical norms help distinguish meaningful anomalies from expected daily or seasonal variation. Which observability method does this description identify? Option A, metrics dashboard. Option B, baseline analysis. Option C, alert threshold tuning. Option D, distributed tracing. The correct answer is option B, baseline analysis. The described behavior supports the requirement to compare current behavior with an established normal range. The design decision fits the donor management application because it targets the exact availability, security, deployment, or operational need described. The nearby alternatives are less suitable because one isolated measurement lacks enough context for reliable interpretation. Question 13. For Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, the team must match resource capacity to measured workload demand. It also wants to avoid a design where leaving chronically oversized resources unchanged wastes recurring spend. Which optimization action offers the most appropriate balance? Option A, chargeback. Option B, right-sizing. Option C, a spot capacity. Option D, scheduled shutdown. The correct answer is option B, right-sizing. Utilization evidence supports selecting a more appropriate instance or service size without compromising required performance. In this scenario, the capability addresses the immediate design objective and avoids solving a different problem. Other options may be useful elsewhere, yet they do not provide the capability emphasized by this scenario. Question 14. A proposed design for Unity Nonprofit's donor management application will be approved only if it can maintain recoverable data outside the primary geographic region. Which recovery operation satisfies that condition? Option A, a restore testing. Option B, retention policy. Option C, cross-region replication. Option D, a failover exercise. The correct answer is option C, cross-region replication. Geographic copies protect against region-wide disruption and support regional disaster recovery. The design decision fits the donor management application because it targets the exact availability, security, deployment, or operational need described. The nearby alternatives are less suitable because copies in the same region could share the outage. Question 15. The current proposal for Unity Nonprofit's donor management application has a drawback: relying on individual memory creates variation and delays. The team still needs to provide repeatable operational steps for routine events and incidents. Which operational practice should replace the proposal? Option A, post-incident review. Option B, a certificate renewal automation. Option C, runbook. Option D, a configuration management database. The correct answer is option C, runbook. Documented procedures improve consistency, reduce decision time, and support less experienced responders. The requirement is satisfied by matching the cloud capability to the donor management application's stated operating condition. The distractors are legitimate cloud techniques, but they address different requirements from the one being tested. Question 16. Unity Nonprofit is preparing an update to its donor management application and needs to evaluate access using user, resource, environment, and action attributes. Which identity control is the strongest choice? Option A, attribute-based access control. Option B, just in time privilege. Option C, multi-factor authentication. Option D, service account. The correct answer is option A, attribute-based access control. Policy decisions can adapt dynamically to context such as department, classification, device, or time. For the donor management application, the governing factor is the requested behavior, and this approach provides it directly. The nearby alternatives are less suitable because static roles alone may not express the required contextual conditions. Question 17. For Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, the team must centralize credentials, tokens, and sensitive configuration values. It also wants to avoid a design where source repositories are not appropriate long-term secret stores. Which protection control offers the most appropriate balance? Option A, Secrets Manager. Option B, a Certificate Authority. Option C, Tokenization. Option D, Encryption at rest. The correct answer is option A, Secrets Manager. Controlled retrieval, audit, encryption, and rotation reduce exposure compared with embedding secrets in code. For Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, that capability maps directly to the stated technical requirement. The distractors are legitimate cloud techniques, but they address different requirements from the one being tested. Question 18. Architects supporting Unity Nonprofit's donor management application need the solution to verify identity, device, and context for each protected request. Which network security control should they choose? Option A, private endpoint. Option B, microsegmentation. Option C, web application firewall. Option D is zero-trust access. The correct answer is option D, zero-trust access. Continuous explicit verification avoids assuming that network location alone establishes trust. The choice is appropriate for Unity Nonprofit because it acts on the requirement identified in the scenario, not merely on a related concern. A different choice would be weaker because broad access based solely on being inside a network would be insufficient. Stressed about your CompTIA exam? We can take CompTIA exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 19. Engineers reviewing Unity Nonprofit's donor management application describe the intended behavior as follows: content-aware controls can identify protected data leaving approved channels or destinations. Which governance control does this description identify? Option A, a data loss prevention. Option B, a data masking. Option C, retention schedule. Option D, policy as code. The correct answer is option A, data loss prevention. The described behavior supports the requirement to detect and restrict unauthorized movement of sensitive information. For Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, that capability maps directly to the stated technical requirement. By contrast, general firewall rules may not understand the data being transferred. Question 20. A production-readiness review for Unity Nonprofit's donor management application requires the team to remove the underlying weakness after containing an incident. Which security response belongs in the plan? Option A, a vulnerability scanning. Option B, security information and event management. Option C, security posture management. Option D, root-cause remediation. The correct answer is option D, root-cause remediation. Correcting the exploited condition prevents simple recurrence rather than only cleaning visible symptoms. Applied within Unity Nonprofit's environment, the approach resolves the central constraint without expanding the solution beyond its purpose. A different choice would be weaker because restoring service without fixing the entry path would leave the risk. Question 21. Unity Nonprofit is designing its donor management application. A key requirement is to isolate work until it is reviewed and ready to merge. Which DevOps practice provides the closest fit? Option A, feature branch. Option B, continuous delivery. Option C, pull request review. Option D, artifact repository. The correct answer is option A, feature branch. Separate branches support parallel development and controlled integration without destabilizing the mainline. For Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, that capability maps directly to the stated technical requirement. By contrast, editing the production branch directly would bypass review and increase collision risk. Question 22. The current proposal for Unity Nonprofit's donor management application has a drawback: manual clicking would be slower and less repeatable. The team still needs to manage cloud resources through documented programmatic interfaces. Which automation practice should replace the proposal? Option A, event-driven workflow. Option B, API-driven automation. Option C, declarative infrastructure as code. Option D, policy validation in pipeline. The correct answer is option B, API-driven automation. Provider APIs enable consistent, scalable operations without depending on graphical interaction. Applied within Unity Nonprofit's environment, the approach resolves the central constraint without expanding the solution beyond its purpose. The decision depends on the stated constraint rather than on selecting the most broadly familiar cloud technology. Question 23. Users report a problem with Unity Nonprofit's donor management application. The team needs to determine whether the subnet has enough free addresses for new resources. After confirming the scope, which troubleshooting action should be performed next? Option A, measure packet loss and latency. Option B, check address exhaustion. Option C, check domain-name resolution. Option D, inspect network access-control rules. The correct answer is option B, check address exhaustion. Dynamic services cannot attach interfaces when the subnet pool is depleted. This approach gives Unity Nonprofit the required behavior while keeping the implementation aligned with the workload's actual demand. The main risk of choosing a different approach is that increasing CPU limits would not create network addresses. Question 24. While diagnosing Unity Nonprofit's donor management application, an administrator must identify swapping, out-of-memory termination, or cache eviction. Which diagnostic action should be used next? Option A, measure storage latency and IOPS. Option B, check service quota. Option C, check memory pressure. Option D, inspect database connection limits. The correct answer is option C, check memory pressure. Insufficient memory can cause severe latency or process failure even when processor use appears moderate. The choice is appropriate for Unity nonprofit because it acts on the requirement identified in the scenario, not merely on a related concern. A different choice would be weaker because increasing network bandwidth would not correct memory exhaustion. Question 25. While diagnosing Unity nonprofit's donor management application, an administrator must identify the exact stage, command, and error that stopped automation. Which corrective action should be used next? Option A. Check credential expiration. Option B. Compare declared and actual state. Option C. Review monitoring coverage. Option D. Examine pipeline logs. The correct answer is option D. Examine pipeline logs. Stage-level evidence narrows the failure before any production changes are attempted. This approach gives Unity nonprofit the required behavior while keeping the implementation aligned with the workload's actual demand. The main risk of choosing a different approach is that manually deploying around the pipeline would hide the root cause.